Doggone, how did I
Look at all those ducks.
How did I not hit that?
We're out here today in this beautiful canyon, tributary of the Deschutes. Hunting down this little canyon, we've got all these series of ponds with a little creek running between them. It creates this fantastic habitat of cattails and wild grasses. The pheasants seem to just love this kind of terrain. Also creates some good places for some quail, though we haven't bumped into any quail just yet.
Damien is out here chasing pheasants with me today. And,
chasing them.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, isn't it? Damien, let's talk a little bit about the economics of public land. We're seeing throughout the West, as you know, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, even here in Oregon, Idaho as well, that there are some people who would like to take our public lands back and privatize them, give them to state control and or sell them off to private interests because they think there's too much public land. That has to impact guys like you.
Absolutely it does. I mean, the way we make our living is by utilizing these public lands. Without them, we can't take fellas out, ladies out, hunters out to enjoy the sport of bird hunting in this situation. And some other outfitters really specialize in big game. And then definitely one of the other areas that we specialize in is fishing. Without these public areas, we're out of business. People can't come and recreate in the outdoors.
Can you imagine turning the Deschutes River where you fish back to private interests?
You know, there's already a lot of private land on the Deschutes River. And right now it works because there is areas that are public that are accessible and that everybody can go and use. And if there was not areas, if it was all private land, there would be extreme amounts of conflict between the public and the private landowners. And as an outfitter, yeah, we would not be able to operate. We wouldn't have places to camp, places to access. It would be very difficult for the public as a whole.
A lot of people don't realize the value of some of the laws that we have, like the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which helps provide access for hunters and anglers. A lot of that on the Deschutes River. Hopefully we can get some LWCF funds for that big ranch down there, that 10,000 acre ranch. But without that fund, we're in deep trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, that is a great example of putting dollars to work for public interest, to getting us the ability to have more access to go upland bird hunting in this situation. But also there's some great wild steelhead rearing tributaries that are on that particular piece of property. And right now, if it stays in private ownership, you never know how it's going to be managed.
Well, and we don't have access to it for the most part.
Exactly.
That's the problem that we see all the time, is that we just don't have access to private land. And thank God for laws like the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which, by the way, Oregon will receive $5.4 million this next year for 6 different projects, and many of them will be beneficial to hunters and anglers, no doubt about it. But would it be safe to say, in your case, Damien, that if we didn't have the public lands that we have, which are the envy of the entire world, that guys like you probably wouldn't be in business?
Oh, that's 100% guaranteed, because if I wasn't able to utilize public lands to take people out hunting and fishing, I would have to secure private land somewhere, and that increases lease costs. That would increase the cost to people that want to come out and utilize the public land, or in this case it would be private land, but want to utilize my services. It would just make everything that much more cost prohibitive. And it would be, yeah, tragic for everybody. I mean, fewer people would get out and go hunting, even fewer people than are hunting now.
Well, the figures that we see all the time is that the outdoor recreation industry is a $646 billion, and that's with a B, billion-dollar industry throughout the United States. And in Oregon, that has a major impact as well. In Oregon, it employs something like 141,000 people in the outdoor recreation industry. You're one of them.
Exactly.
And that translates into $13 billion with a B dollars in consumer spending just in Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, I was sharing with you, I had these group that came out this past weekend all the way from London, England. They spent time in hotels, eating at restaurants, participating at the bars, and then also coming out and going hunting and fishing with us. There is no doubt that it is very important to our economy.
Seventh heaven here.
Totally. Recharge the battery.
Oh, no kidding.